Hi guys, welcome to today's video. Today, you're gonna ring that shame bell. Shame, shame. I'm a completionist. It's a chronic disorder. I just wanna buy makeup and complete my collections. I'm gonna go through all of this, show you what I've got, swatch it all, give you some beautiful up close, juicy, lovely little swatches. And then, now that I've got all of these, this is me justifying myself, I can do a nice little updated ranking video for you for Natasha Denona. Like, how exciting is that? I think that's so exciting. If my hand's looking a little bit tethered by the end of this video, it's because I've swatched probably about 1,000 eyeshadows in the space of half an hour. So apart from these three things, everything I have is eyeshadow. So I kind of want to show you these three things first. I saw this on discount and to be honest with you, I didn't need it, but I just couldn't resist. This is the Natasha Denona Love Cheek Duo. So this is like a 2-year-old, like this got released 2 years ago. So it probably is 2 years old, but it's never been touched. It's got a lovely little mirror in it. I'm sure everyone's seen it before. It's got a cream blush and a lovely pink to gold highlighter. Did I buy it for the packaging? No. I did. I just love it. I love it so much. The cheek products inside are actually something I would use, especially the blush. This might be a little bit too dark for me, but we can make it work in the summer, in the summertime. She is a little bit winter on the chest, summer in the face. We're just working for the fantasy, to be honest with you. But honestly, this just looks really beautiful to me. And I want to give you some up close swatches whilst I describe to you how beautiful I think it is. I think it's a beautiful little duo. Will I use it? Probably a lot. Yeah, I think I will. I just love staring at it. I might just hold this in my hands for the rest of the evening, trying to rotate glitter around like a child. But I think it's really pretty and I've not really tried Natasha Denona's cheek products out before, so I thought, when in Rome, why not? I also picked up this, which honestly is a little bit more up my street, a little bit more my level. This is the My Dream Cheek Trio Blush and Highlighter Palette. This looks so beautiful. So you've got a kind of, I think it's cream or like a cream to powder highlight, and you've got a normal powder highlighter, and then you've got just a blush. This looks really, really nice. I wish in some respects it was two blushes, like two different types of blushes and one highlighter. I just feel like, is there really a need for two highlighters in one palette? Personally, no. I have tried her highlights out before. In fact, it kind of looks like the same one. I think this is my only other Natasha Denona highlighter. This is a powder. This is the I Need a Nude highlighter, and this is just like the powder golden one. It's a really pretty one. It's not my favourite, but it's really pretty. And this kind of looks like the cream version of that. So the cream one's here. I thought the cream one was it. It's not. This is the powder, this is the cream, and then you've got the blush here. Honestly, I think this is really up my street. Again, I'll give you the close-up. The packaging's not my favourite thing, but it does feel very luxe. And do you know what? The pan size is appropriate, I think. If I was to throw this in my bag, like a little travel holiday, I'd have a little bronzer and maybe just take this with me. And yeah, okay, maybe it is nice to have a cream highlighter and a powder one for the different types of glow that you want, like a more silky glow or a more precise beaming highlighter. So I'm quite excited to try this and put this on my face. I just want to apply more makeup when it's fun outside. When it's cold, I just want to be in PJs looking like a little potato. And then finally for the cheek products, I picked up the Pastel Plexi Glow Highlighter. Now a lot of people said that this wasn't duochrome, multi-chrome highlighter, and this was actually just more of an overcast or just how they presented it online. It does look like it's kind of got a green to pink finish, like green here and pink over here, but a lot of people swatched it and there was nothing. It was just like a white highlighter. I don't mind. I just wanted to try it. I bought it knowing that, but I really liked the compact. I thought it was really nice shaped packaging. I really like that it kind of is really smooth here, and it's just like a square. It's like, I don't know, it's not a square, but it's a square, and I really like the packaging of like the colour of it. I really liked it. I don't know, I can't tell you anything else than that. I really liked it. I really liked the embossing on it, and I just kind of wanted it. And I think sometimes that's just enough of a justification. I wanted it. I feel like if Natasha Denona came out with more products this size, I'd probably be more inclined to pick them up as well, like blushes, bronzers. Like, this is a really good size pan in my opinion, something that's actually achievable to get through, but nothing that's going to be hitting pan straight away. I think this is a really good size pan. So yeah, if she comes out with more cheap products like this size, this packaging, I'd be totally down. I think it's really sleek and really lovely looking. I just love the colour as well. I like it. On to eyeshadows. I picked up so many mini eyeshadows because I don't think I own any. If I own any, then I don't know where they are, or they're pretty non-existent in my mind. I don't think I own any. So I basically picked up all the ones that interested me. I picked up this was on discount because this was from Christmas. This was like the mini trio. This is the baby gold palette. I do have the full size gold palette and it's one of my favorite palettes from Natasha Denona. I think the idea of this, it was supposed to be like a tree bauble. I personally don't want to shove crap on my trees. I don't want to shove makeup on my tree. My Christmas tree is to look beautiful at all times, not to have little palettes hanging off of it, but I kind of understand the sentiment. This is really, really sweet. I feel like this is a perfect little going away palette, a little overnighter where you don't really want to wear makeup, or you don't really care if you wear makeup, but you just want something. For me, typically, if I'm going like to someone's house, or you know, I'm staying over a friend, or I'm in a place where I feel comfortable, or I don't want to be applying makeup because I'm only staying over for the night, I want something like this where I can literally just shove this through the crease, this on the outer corner, and maybe this on the lid and like be done, or even skip this out and just put this through the crease. I think for me, that's where these little palettes come really in handy, and I just saw myself using this quite a lot. Like, it's kind of got that neutral / warm leaning sort of shade range, and yeah, for a trio, I thought this was really, really pretty, and I'd definitely use it. So I picked this one up. I also picked up the mini Zendo palette. I do have the full-size Zendo palette. It's actually not my favourite. Can I get into it? The full-size Zendo palette isn't actually my favourite, but this one just looks so much nicer in my opinion. Like, it's just got a really nice sunsetty vibe with this lovely kind of silvery taupe in the middle. Honestly, this is a really, really lovely palette. I think this, again, it's a lovely little weekend palette or something for work. A lot of the time when I'm going to work, I like wearing full face of makeup to work. I don't feel uncomfortable if I don't. But I do like, it's how I express myself. I love wearing eyeshadow to work. This for me is something that I would absolutely grab on the days where I just can't be bothered to think about what I need to do. I need to do 10-minute makeup, apply a little bit of like tinted moisturizer or foundation, bit of concealer, brows, mascara, lip, and if I want to do a bit of eyeshadow, this is like through the crease, on the lid, you know, blending out, outer corner, done. It's just like a really quick thing, and yeah, I just really liked it. I thought it was really cute. I do wish that this was similar to the Zendo palette. I don't feel like this is very representative of the larger one, but at the same time I feel like it's very complementary, so I feel like it could have had a little bit more in here, but honestly it's a really, really lovely palette and I'm excited to use it. Next up, we have a Valentine's exclusive. This came with a brush. I definitely got this on discount because it's a Valentine's Day exclusive, and guess what? Valentine's Day was a long time ago, and not just the one that's gone, the one before that, which is, I think this is the, yeah, Mini Crush palette. So this I thought was really, really lovely, and I also picked up the, here we go, the Mini Love. So this is the mini version of the Love palette, that midi palette. I have that and I really, really do love it, and I feel like this is absolutely representative of that palette. It's got that deep purple, the pinks, there's no duplications, there's no same shades, but they're quite similar and they lend themselves really well to that palette. It's definitely a baby version. And then they came out with the Mini Crush, which I think is really cool. They didn't come out with the full size for Valentine's Day. They came out with just like this little mini version, which definitely leans a bit more pink and red, whereas this one was a bit more purple. They definitely lend themselves to each other. You can definitely see the similarities, but there is a little bit of difference there. So you can see the deeper shade is in the middle, you've got the reddier toned here, and you've got the pinkier toned at the end, and like these two are the only ones that have swapped out. But honestly, I just feel like these are really, really gorgeous, and I'd probably throw these both in my bag or apply these both at the same time and use them kind of as one palette together. But if you love pink tones, I personally love the Love palette, like the, I think it's just called the Love palette. The Natasha Denona Love palette, yeah. I really, really like that one, and yeah, I love these tones, so no regrets. Next up, we have the Mini Nude palette, which is in a bit of a different packaging. It's kind of got this open panel, which I guess I'm not mad about. This one for me, I think is a really, really good staple. It is perfect for just throwing on some eyeshadows. And the thing is, with all these mini palettes, not only did I buy them to be supplementary, like there's a couple here that I think are quite unique. This I wouldn't say is a unique palette in my collection at all, but it's quite nice to have some Natasha Denona minis and some Natasha Denona products that I can apply on the everyday without necessarily being for YouTube. A lot of the other bigger palettes will be specifically like I've bought them to use on YouTube as well as my personal life. But this one and like the mini love and the little mini gold, for me, like that's a purchase that I want to use them in my personal life. And again, I can just see myself putting this through the crease, this in the outer corner, this one in the inner corner, and either of these on the lid. It's just like a really easy, basic eyeshadow palette. I really like it. I really, really do. I think it's really, really lovely. I think the packaging makes it feel really fresh. It's just like a lovely constructed palette. I'm really excited to play with this. This one I feel is so unique. Like honestly, for a £5 eyeshadow palette from Natasha Denona, I feel like it's just so unique. This is the mini pastel. I didn't manage to get my hands on the Natasha Denona pastel palette. It's out of stock, it was limited edition. I didn't quite realise that, because when she says things are limited edition, they normally hang around for like a year. Like look at the Love palette, the Gold palette, like they've been hanging around for a while, and the pastel palette just seems to have dropped off the face of the earth. So unfortunately I couldn't get my hands on that one. So I did pick up this one because I thought, well, you know, maybe I can just have the feeling, have the sense of it. It kind of feels similar to the pastel palette. I would say probably the green and the pink are the only things that make me feel that way. I didn't quite realise when I picked this up that 4 of these shadows are actually metallic, and the only matte is this one here. I think this is going to be something that I use as a complementary palette to something else. The shimmers or metallics, whatever you want to call them, look really, really lovely. I just can't imagine myself using this as like a one and done look, which is fine. I don't have to have every palette to be a one and done look. I just feel like I'm going to have to reach for something else when using this palette. I think it was probably meant to supplement the pastel palette that I don't have, but that's fine. I just wanted to have something a bit unique and experiment with it, and I really like the fact that it's got like really nice minty packaging, and I'm sure that I will use this in tandem with other things in my collection, like this with the what's it called, like that circusy palette, the Circo Loco. That palette with this I'm sure would go really, really well, so I will use it. Probably not the smartest purchase, but I just wanted to feel part of something. I did pick up the mini Xenon. The thing that sold me on this one was the silver, okay? I'm gonna let you know, I'm a bit of a basic girl for a silver. I love a silver. And I saw the swatches of this silver, and it's been on my wish list for ages and ages and ages, and I saw it go on a little bit of a discount, and I was like, that is enough to send me over the edge. I really, really like this. I love a smoky eye. For me, when I'm going out and I want a really sultry smoky look, I love just doing a black smoky eye, and I feel like this for me is going to be like a really good staple for a smoky eye. I would kind of want like a bit of a dark, really warm brown to go with it, maybe, just to not make it feel so cool toned. That's what I quite like doing, to kind of warm up a dark smoky eye. But this, to me, I was like, yeah, this is going to be fun. This is going to be fun. I could do a really nice silver cut crease. I don't feel like I need anything more than this, but I could also supplement it with like the nude palette. I could use this one in tandem, add this really nice warm brown just into like the crease to fluff out the grey and kind of just make it a little bit more like less grey basically. But honestly, really excited. This is the sort of palette that I would actually use more often than you'd probably think, so I've been pining after this one. Lastly, for the mini palettes, I picked up this one, which is the mini Trio Chrome. So obviously this is supposed to supplement the Trio Chrome palette, and it's blue. There's obviously no blues in the Trio Chrome. It's purple, green, and purple, green, and like a yellowy, or what shade is it? Purple, green, and I need to know now. It's kind of like purple, green, and then like a pinky sangria orange vibe. Why did I forget that? I feel like it's because it kind of all merged into one. But this blue is supposed to supplement this massive palette because it's like another extended row to this palette, which I really, really liked that concept. I kind of like that they're taking inspiration from an existing palette and then adding it to like make just one more row to a palette. I really like it. I really love blue eyeshadow. There does feel like enough of a contrast for me to blend these out. I just think this could be a complete look. For me, it is probably only 1 to 2 looks, this palette. Like, it's not going to create lots. It's blue, it's monochromatic, but there is some duochrome, there is a bit of texture there. You've got 3 mattes and 2 metallics. I do prefer things to be weighted that way just because I do a lot of my groundwork, a lot of the base work in mattes. I feel like I'm going to use this enough to justify buying it, and I quite like that it's an extension of the Trio Chrome because this palette is one of my favourites, so it's nice to have like a little sister to this palette. Then we get on to the big boys. I did pick up the Vieve palette. Honestly, I've been wanting the Vieve palette for so long, and I saw it kind of go on discount. I can't remember where it was. It might have been look fantastic. I think I bought this off of, but I just feel like the Vieve palette is just one of those core palettes that everyone seems to have. I can never include it in my rankings. I can never truly base neutrals off of this one. I know a lot of people do. This is a cult favorite amongst a lot of people. I know it's one of the original palettes, like the original larger palettes that she doesn't seem to do anymore, which actually settles well with me. I prefer the midi palettes, if I'm honest, because I do not need this much product. But I did want to pick this one up. I do like neutral tones. I love a neutral eye look. I love browns. I really, really do. It's kind of what I wear every day, just kind of work. This is what I truly love. This is how I feel like the most expressive with color. But on an everyday basis, when I'm trying to just get myself ready and run out the door, I very rarely do this sort of thing, just because I don't have time to be creative. So this is the sort of thing I'd apply every day. I do think a lot of her shadows are kind of similar to this, and she has got a lot of nude eyeshadow palettes now, and I'd kind of like to do a little bit of a biopsy on that. Natasha Denona colourful versus neutral palettes, and just see how many there actually are in comparison to one another, and kind of do like a similar thing for like Pat McGrath. Like, we all know that Pat McGrath loves her rose tones and warm browns. Natasha Denona, on the other hand, does actually adventure into colourful shadows, and I really, really like the Vieve palette. I think it's just a staple. I've never been able to try it because I've never had it, and I think I'm going to use it because it's just like a really good, simple core palette. So I have no regrets, really. I mean, I don't have regrets about any of this because I bloody love eyeshadow. I picked up the Retro Glam palette. This packaging just looks so fun to me. Like, look at this. This is obviously one of the midi palettes. This is kind of pink, and I would call this pink and sage green. Though I say pink, there's actually only 3 pinks in this entire palette when I look at it now. Like this one, this one, this one. The rest of it is like sage green and kind of like that mushroomy taupe. And I mean, if you know me, you know that I love green eyeshadow. This is actually a really unique colour story. I think this is really nice. I think it's quite a unique colour story. I think it's very muted, but I think there's a time and a place for that, and actually I quite like a muted colour story, especially when it's green. Like, I love a bit of green, and there's quite a lot of like taupey brown eyeshadows as well. I think she's done very well in trying to make this a wearable, adventurous palette. I really, really like it, and I love the packaging. Honestly, the packaging, like, can I be sold by packaging alone? Unfortunately, I will probably admit that I can be, and the packaging kind of just tips me over the edge. But I love Natasha Denona, I love her quality, and this is why I wanted to collect them all. Fulfill my destiny. I picked up the My Dream palette. I'm not a massive fan of the packaging. I don't hate it, but I'm not a massive fan of the ink splot. I don't know. Do I like it? It doesn't offend me. It doesn't offend me, but it's not my favourite. I like that it's kind of this matte feeling though. That's quite nice. And I just really like the inside of this palette. I think it's very warm, very rich. That's how I feel. It's very rich and just a lot of texture in there. You've got these like raspberry tones, this duochrome. It's very wearable, but also you can make it very glam by kind of coming a bit darker as well. I really, really like this palette. I think it's really, really nice, and I think it's gonna be one of those that I can dress up or down. And yeah, it's just like a really, really lovely palette. I love it. I then picked up the I Need a Nude palette, which again, the packaging for this one is simply divine. I feel like Natasha Denona has just been upping it and upping it and upping it with her packaging lately. But this one is just so pretty. Like, look at this. Look how, like, that is so unique. It's got like this 3D effect. I really, really like it. I feel like this is the most similar to the Vieve palette in the respect of its tone. This is very neutral, very mid-toned, but honestly, I feel like this is the sort of palette that is going to become like the new cult favourite. I think a lot of people love this one. Whenever I see people talking about it, they always talk about how much they love it and how beautiful it is. It's got so much texture. It is actually leaning more metallic heavy than it is matte, which is quite interesting. But honestly, I think I'm going to have so much fun with this. Like, even just looking at it, like this shade here, I cannot wait to swatch this one, even the mattes. I'm really, really, really glad that there's a dark matte here. I think that's going to be actually, ironically, the most used eyeshadow palette, even though it's like the most boring one because it's just like a plain brown matte. But I think this is going to be the most used one because it's the only thing that I can really see me deepening up my eye looks with. But I'm glad it's there, I really, really am. You kind of got like this bone peachy matte colour, like light but not that light, if I'm honest, but you have got some other like inner corner shades. So I honestly think I'm really, really gonna like this one. Really like this one. It is leaning a little bit more pink than it is brown, but I'm not mad at that. Honestly, the packaging's stunning though. it's shrimply divine. I then picked up the Jecca palette, which honestly, this is the one I paid full price for, because I was like, can you imagine, can we just imagine a world where I didn't pick this up? Like, honestly, it was just not gonna happen. I wasn't gonna risk it. Everything else, I would have been like, oh, damn it, never got to try it. But this one, I was like, you're coming home with me. That was my terrible Shrek impersonation. But look at this. It's stunning. I love it. I love the packaging. I love how it's kind of like this weird blended. I'm sure someone in the graphics team took about 5 minutes to create this. It kind of is giving me a smudge vibe in Photoshop, but I don't hate it. It's kind of cute. I kind of like it. I love the colours. The inside of this palette though, oh, this is me. This is me in a palette. It's swampy, it's green, it's got a bit of chartreuse, it's yellowy. Oh my God, I love it. I absolutely love it. This could be one of my top 3, if not my favourite Natasha Denona palettes, which again is why I wanted to try it. I want to be able to rank all of these palettes for you at some point this year, and I really want to get to know all of them before I do that. But I just know straight off the bat, with the colour story, this could be one of my favourites ever. It's just so, so beautiful. Oh, I just want to keep looking at it. Oh. And last but certainly not least, we have the Xenon, surely Xenon. So unlike where the mini palettes usually are inspired by the big palettes, this mini palette inspired a midi palette, which again, I'm not mad at. I really do like her concepts of these sorts of things. I think it's kind of like creating more of a story around, she has a colour story, really likes it, wants to expand on it, wants to draw inspiration, or just take a selection from that and make it small. Or she does the complete opposite and takes 5 shadows and goes, let's make this into 15. This packaging reminds me of the night sky. It is so beautiful. I absolutely bloody love it. I know this palette got a lot of flack because it's quite flack or slack? No, flack, like as in criticism. I should just say this palette got a lot of criticism. And that was mostly down to the fact that it's quite mid-toned in the sense of you've got these lovely shades, but a lot of the things are quite samey. Like these two are quite samey. This one's quite samey with this one, but like a little bit deeper. Like a lot of it was quite samey same. Honestly, I quite like grey eyeshadow, and for me with Natasha Denona, and I was going to say this at the end, but I'll say it now, with all of her shadows being able to be popped out, there you go, if I catch the light you can see the little holes there. You'll probably see it better in these, but you can see the little holes in the back of all of these palettes. For me, I love popping them all out and creating my own colour story, and that is what I love about Natasha Denona, like one of the things. So for me, it doesn't bother me that all of this colour story might look a bit samey on the eyes, because I see them as individuals in like a capsule palette. I think it's looking stunning. I don't know what people are talking about. I bloody love this. I think it's amazing. I think pairing this with some colour or just some neutral eyeshadows, like some brown eyeshadows or even some like yellow ones or green ones, like, oh my God, a lime green, chartreuse. Yes, like I have the vision in my head. Whether that comes out, I don't know, but I see the vision in my head. So I'm really excited to play around with all of these, to be honest. Once I have an opinion on everything, I'm going to do a full Natasha Denona ranking of every single palette I own, which I think is going to be pretty comprehensive. So yes, very excited. Let me know if there's a Natasha Denona palette that you have got your eyes on at the moment. What do you think is going to be the next colour story? It'll be really interesting to see what we get. Let me know what your thoughts are. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Thumbs this video up if you have enjoyed. Subscribe if you haven't already, and ring the bell so you'll be notified of all the videos I upload. I love you guys. Stay safe, take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!